So these are Viking era turn boots. They are historically accurate to my knowledge. They're from a company called Merchant of Menace who trade on eBay. And they actually only cost me just over £30, including the postage, which is an absolute steal for historical shoes, because they're seconds quality. So you can see this one in particular is a little bit squished. They've been in storage for quite a while, and their soles are a little bit misshapen, and they've got a few little scuffs and scratches and marks on them. You see this one has a little black mark here. Obviously they've got their price written on the bottom because they were just to be sold cheap. They're quite curved, and that curve is actually quite detrimental. They curve up like this, and the sides of that curve dig in my feet. So we're going to wet form them. I did try that on my mannequin, but it turns out the mannequin has very narrow feet, so we're going to plan B, which is to put chunky socks on my feet, cover them in cling film, and then shove these on when they're wet. Let's see how that goes. So what I'm going to need is boots, obviously, some cling film, which I will wrap around the feet once I've put on chunky socks, and I will wet them in a bucket with some warm water, and then I will use a hairdryer to dry them off quicker so that I'm not sat here all day with wet shoes on my feet. So now there's water in, I'm going to pop the boots in. I've taken the toggles out. Just gently submerge them. Just going to get the water right in there. Let them soak. Let them get nice and wet. What is my life? Nice and bendy. Just a little bit less. Shaped. So here we are. Next day. They are still a little bit damp on the bottom, but as you can see, they are much better than they started out yesterday. They stand up on their own rather than being floppy. They're both the same shape now. They fit my feet much better. They don't have that quite as much of a weird curve here. Yeah, I'm really pleased with the wet forming process. So what comes next is I need to wax them. I'm just going to use this. So this is the Dr. Martens Wonder Balsam that I have anyway because I have Dr. Marten boots. And we'll see how that works. So just want to give you a quick comparison. This is the boot that I've just been waxing, and then this one is the one that's still to be waxed. You can see that there's a very definite colour difference here. So the one that's been waxed is looking much healthier, shiny, moisturised, wonderful. With the Wonder Balsam, which contains lanolin, beeswax and coconut oil, it's also going to have a little bit of weather protection on there as well, which is great, especially for in the field. I'm going to get this other one done as well, and then I'm going to show you a quick comparison between these and some historically inspired shoes I have that are a little bit similar as well. I think I might as well pop a little bit of wax on these as well, just to make sure they are weather protected as well. Keep them nice and healthy, make sure they don't get damaged. So here are my two types of historical or historically inspired boots. First, the boots you've been watching me reshape throughout this video. Once again, these are the two toggle Viking era turn boots from Merchant of Menace. And over here we have Mythalon's three buckle style Raimund boots. They're designed to replicate some historical patterns and methods, but they're not really meant to replicate any one extant style. I just want to do a quick comparison between them so you can see what an actual historical pair of shoes for reenactment looks like versus a pair from a fantasy LARP supplier that's really just meant to feel right. First, the turn boots are historically appropriate, made in the traditional method, which means they're sewn together inside out, then turned the right way out, hence the name turn boots or turn shoes. They're fastened with these really attractive rolled leather toggles. It's a really nice way of closing shoes and a really historical way of closing shoes. They're cut really simply. There's only two pattern pieces. This full piece is one pattern piece and then the sole. They're undyed natural leather as well, which was quite common historically. You've then got the Mythalon boots, similarly all leather with a hard veg tan sole. They're a very similar shape, as you can see, but these are made in a much more complex and somewhat more modern way. So they have 5 pattern pieces. You've got a tongue, a front, a back, a strip up the back and the sole. And the sole is also nailed on, which is a historical method, but not a medieval method to my knowledge. Not really my area of expertise, but all of the medieval boots that I've seen have been sewn on like the turn boots. I do find these quite stiff to walk in because they've got such a hard sole. The turn boots are much more flexible, you can see there, but they are much more narrow as well, so I do find that the edge of the sole touches my foot a little bit, but that's not a huge problem. It's not uncomfortable, I'm just aware of it. I've not had a chance to wear them in the field yet though, so that may change when I'm walking around for hours on end. As far as the fit goes, they do both fit similarly, apart from that issue with the sole there. These are more modern soled, so they do fit my slightly wider modern feet a little bit better, but it's not really here or there. As for which I prefer, honestly, don't really prefer one over the other. They're both really nice boots and have different uses. They retail at around the same price, about £60-ish, although of course I bought both of them in the sale. These ones for £30-ish because they were seconds quality, and I paid £40 for the Raymunds at the time. I think the Mythalon boots are great. They work really well for fantasy shoes and they're decently comfy. I feel like they're likely to be more accessible as well, since Mythalon is an easy brand to get hold of. They're also made to be durable with LARPers in mind, which is not to say that the turn boots aren't durable. They're still made of really good leather. They are also just really well made. They're historically appropriate, so if you buy them as a LARPer, you can also cross over into reenactment and living history and so on if you'd like. They're also softer and much lighter weight. So yeah. And here they are. They're really comfortable now, and as you can see, they're looking much better too. As a reminder, these came from Merchant of Menace on eBay, and I'd really recommend them if you're looking for some practical and historically accurate turn boots. And that's all from me for this month. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this more vlog style of video. Please let me know what you thought in the comments below, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.